Let's go. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron, and welcome back to day 2, another live stream. It is the game preview ahead of tomorrow's Premier League fixture against West Bromwich Albion away from home. Carlo Ancelotti's Everton coming up against Sam Allardyce's West Brom in a game that I think is actually going to be quite difficult for Everton. Look, it's very, very easy to look at West Brom, obviously 19th in the Premier League table, only 3 wins this season, one of them coming in their last game against Brighton. 8 draws and 15 losses, so it'd be very easy for us to sit down and expect Everton to turn up and absolutely, put West Brom to the sword and maybe score 5 goals like we did in the reverse fixture at Goodison Park. But I actually think this one's going to be quite a difficult game, to be honest with you. West Brom are a team that will sit back, they'll defend, they'll frustrate, and Sam Allardyce obviously is a manager who hasn't had the greatest of pasts with Everton Football Club, let's put it that way. I think he feels like he was harshly treated when he left the football club, and it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Sam Allardyce's sole purpose tomorrow was to just frustrate Everton and to ultimately stop us from getting a 3 pointer. And to be fair, I wouldn't expect any less, to be honest with you. West Brom are a team that are fighting for survival and fighting for to stay in the Premier League, so ultimately any points that they can get are big points, and why would he turn up and roll over just so that Everton can get the win? And I don't expect that, and I think that's right as well. But even saying that, that's why I think it's going to be quite a difficult game for us tomorrow. I think West Brom are going to be a team that are difficult to break down. I think they're going to be difficult to get at, but the expectation, if Everton certainly have got aspirations of finishing in a European position this season, maybe even a Champions League position, then we simply have to be beating West Brom. We simply have to be going there and getting the 3 points, and nothing less is acceptable. The game obviously falls at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, and it is before the game between Liverpool and Chelsea. So if we do win, we will go 4th with the game in hand, of course. Still, we'll go above West Ham, we'll go above Chelsea and Liverpool, of course, and then there's guaranteed for at least one of those teams to drop points in the later game, if not both sides. So it's all set up, isn't it? Joined by Callum, of course, as usual. Don't really need to introduce Cal. He's on every preview. He's got a boss professional looking mic now, so we're all good. We're rolling. But it's all set up. 6 o'clock kickoff. Opportunity for us for Everton to go 4th away from home. We've been brilliant away from home, coming up against the side who are not the worst side in the league, but certainly very close to it. 19th in the Premier League. It's set up for one of those nights where you should think, right, Everton, just turn up, get the win, and don't be another one of them where everything's set up perfectly and we blow it. But I just think they're going to be a difficult team to play against, mate.
Oh, perfect timing. I was just about to take a drink of water. Right, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. It's Big Sam, and he hates us deep down because he thinks he could have got us Champions League if he got the same funding, but he couldn't have. Yeah. It was a relegation dogfight. That's what he's good at. I think it's going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to be like, was it 5?
5-2.
What was it?
5-2.
5-2. It's not going to be that again. It's probably going to be 1-0, 2-1 maybe. Because West Brom have got some decent players, don't get me wrong, and they have got players I rate. They've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles on loan from Arsenal, Grady Diangana, they've got Mateus Pereira. They've got players that can trouble us. But, like we said, it's a promising start for us. James Rodriguez will more than likely be back to play. Tom Davies will probably play. I don't know what he said in his press conference. I don't know if you have a clue, Cam.
Yeah, he gave an injury update, and he practically said in regards to James, Tom Davies and Seamus Coleman and Robin Olsen, I suppose, he said that they'll all be assessed today. He said he didn't say it's too soon, but he said he hasn't got any precise details on injuries or whether or not they'll be available, but they'll basically be assessed in training this afternoon. He also said the same about Alan. He said that Alan will be assessed to see if he's recovered completely from the game on Monday night. So again, it's really difficult to tell whether the players will be fit. The likes of James and Tom Davies, etc., will be fit. But he didn't give much away, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I'm looking at a comment here. It's a good point, actually, going into the West Brom game about that. We need to start scoring. Because if you look at the teams above us, Chelsea are miles above us on goal difference. I'm going to have a little look now, but I can't imagine a David Moyes West Ham side are double digits in goal difference. And if they are, then this season is mental. But let me check. West Ham.
It is
9. So we've got 8, but then there's the problem is Chelsea have got 16. Oh no, we've got 5. Right, let's put it simply. We need to put 4 past West Brom.
Yeah, well, and that's it, isn't it? It's like I said at the start of the season, and I said this yesterday in the review to the Southampton game. It's very much about winning games of football at the moment. I'll take a win like we did against Southampton any day of the week, because ultimately that means you've won the game. And I know that, Philip's right. He said we need to start scoring. One thing I'd forgotten about is goal difference. It's pretty close, and goal difference could be the difference. You're right. You're absolutely spot on. And I think Carlo Ancelotti sort of understands that, but I think he also is focused on first and foremost getting the 3 points, and Monday's result was massive. I said it yesterday. Last week we were all absolutely made up. We sat here, we done about 4 or 5 streams last week, and the emotion was full flown. We're beating Liverpool for the first time in 20 odd years. We had the stadium news, we had the Luca Dean contract news, and it was an amazing week for Everton Football Club. And it was a historic week as well, and that'll go down as one of the the best weeks for Everton in a long time. But that was in terms of the future of the football club and the project and the stadium stuff, and obviously Luca Dean's contract. This week for me is an absolutely massive week for Everton in regards to the context of this season. The Southampton game was vital that we got the 3 points in it. Southampton are a side that haven't won in the last 8 games. They've been struggling. They're low on confidence. You've seen them the other night. They had, they didn't have any momentum whatsoever, and they looked like they didn't have any belief in themselves either, which is, which was strange to see, really, because for the entirety of the game it was 1-0, and there was always a chance at 1-0. There's always an opportunity for the opposition team to get back into the game, but they just didn't seem like they had the belief. We now play West Brom tomorrow, and this is another massively important game. If we want to be a team that, are looking to fight for the Champions League and fight in the Champions League positions, then we need to be beating these sides. Dom in the comments says, is King set to start, and if so, over who? I just want to make it clear about the title of the live stream. Well, this is more regarding my predict starting 11. It's nothing to do with Carlo Ancelotti's press conference. He didn't mention Josh King once in his press conference, but I want to talk about Josh King a little bit later on, and why I think this would be a good game to introduce him from the start and maybe give him a little bit of a run in the team. Certainly considering Carlo did talk about rotation and said squad rotation is key. But like you said, West Brom are a team that frustrate. They're a team that like to annoy sides. They're a team that sit back. And Everton notoriously this season, we haven't been at our best when teams have allowed us the ball. Certainly this side of the season anyway. At the start of the season, when we beat West Brom 5-2 at Goodison, and when we beat Brighton at Goodison and West Ham, it was excellent because we were taking games to teams, we were controlling, we were getting forward, we were scoring goals. It was absolutely excellent. But since the turn of, maybe Christmas time, even after that bad run of form, I think Carlo Ancelotti sort of changed the side a little bit to focus more on not conceding and winning games of football, in ways in which that maybe a little bit tight, like the Southampton game, like the game against Wolves a couple of weeks back, like the Leeds game. And West Brom are a side that aren't going to have 80% possession like Liverpool did. They're not going to have 80% possession like Leicester did away from home. We're going to have the possession, and for me, we need to turn up and put in a similar performance to the one against Leeds a couple of weeks back in the first half, where we take the game to West Brom and we're the team that are actively getting forward and creating chances and putting pressure on them. And I do think Everton have struggled to do that at times this season. I think Everton have been much better. When we've had to sit back and sort of defend, and we've hit teams on the counter-attack, and we've hit teams on the break, and we've been that counter-attacking sort of style and format. And I think West Brom and certainly Sam Allardyce's West Brom tomorrow will be happy to allow Everton to have the ball, because Sam Allardyce will have done his research. He'll have watched Everton this season. He'll be aware that Everton this season haven't necessarily been a side that take the game to teams on occasion. We've been a side that, certainly in the games that we've won, the big games, you like, say, your Chelsea's at home, your Tottenham's away, you're at Liverpool and Anfield the other week. We had very little possession, but ultimately it doesn't matter because we hit those sides on the counter and we won the games. I don't think it'll be the same tomorrow night. You look at West Brom, they've taken points off some really good teams this season. Drew with Manchester City earlier on in the season. I know it was Slaven Bilic and it was a different sort of style and a different manager, but it was the same set of players, barring the couple of players that they've brought in January, and those players they brought in January have only strengthened them. Not many teams will take points off Manchester City this season. Not many teams will. We've seen, against Everton, how good Manchester City are. If anybody watched the game last night between Wolves and City, Wolves equalised with 15 minutes to go, and City just went, nah, you know what, we'll put it into second gear here, and they ran away with it. They took points off Manchester United a couple of weeks ago. They drew with Liverpool, so they're actually unbeaten in 3 games. Beat Brighton last time out, drew with Burnley, and drew with Manchester United before that. They then lost a couple on the bounce prior to that, Spurs and Sheffield United. But it's, for me, Cal, this isn't going to be a free-flowing game. I know we need to start scoring goals, and I know goal difference is massive, and certainly with the league at the moment and how tight the league is on points and stuff, goal difference could be the decider at the end of the season. But I don't expect a 4 or 5, 6 goal thriller tomorrow. I expect maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1. I expect it to be very, very difficult. I was on Everton Now about an hour or so ago doing the preview with Alfie for Everton Now's channel, and I said I expect this game to go. I don't know if you remember, Callum, but Carlo Ancelotti's first game in charge for Everton back in 2019, I think it was a week after Boxing Day, we played Burnley at Goodison, and it was just a massively frustrating game of football. They just defended for 80 minutes, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored the diving header in the 82nd minute, and we won the game 1-0. But it was so frustrating because we were just coming up against a team that threw 11 men behind the ball, and we just couldn't break them down. And I expect this one tomorrow to go quite similar to that. But having said that, 2 of our last 2 games we've scored within the first 10 minutes. Richarlison scored an early goal, and if we get an early goal in this one, then maybe the floodgates will open a little bit because they'll be forced to come out, and then we can hit them on the counter-attack, and that plays into our hands. But for me, I don't know about you, Carl, I don't expect a 5 or 6 goal thriller tomorrow. I think it'll be a lot tighter than that, but ultimately we have to win, don't we? We can't consider ourselves a Champions League challenging side if we can't beat West Brom away.
Yeah, 100%. I think one problem going into it is we know what to expect with Sam Allardyce. We've watched it. It was awful. He sits men back. And don't get me wrong, I do kind of appreciate the way Sam Allardyce plays because it's not a Tony Pulis. He'll sit back, but then, they can play nice counter-attacking football. You've seen it from West Brom. The plays they've had, they've got the quality to play counter-attacking football. They hired Sam Allardyce. And already basically had the tools for him there. So I think that's one problem we need. I don't think we should go all out with some ridiculously attacking lineup with Gomez, Sigurdsson, James, and just say go, have fun, because we'll lose if we do that. I think you need to have a good balance to beat West Brom, and if you want to thump West Brom, you need to beat them down. You need to wear them down. We need to go 2-0 up, and then when West Brom think, right, let's start getting back into the game a little bit. Keep attacking. It's like someone said here, we put, what was it, 7 shots a game? Yeah. That's not good enough. I understand in the Southampton game, I can understand because the team was set up more to. I think Carlo was trying to be press resistant, but there were moments where Mason Holgate lost the ball, and I was like, you haven't really picked the right side for this game. But I think we did. We got away with it. But yeah, we need to be, in my opinion, against teams like West Brom, doubling, even tripling that number. And don't get me wrong, I don't expect us to bang high past them, but I at least expect a nice attacking display from us.
Yeah. No, sorry. It's all right.
And a good defence, because it's what we've been known for now this season, a good defence. We need to blend the start of the season and now together to get that balance to become a Champions League side.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. I couldn't put it better myself, and that's something that I think I've alluded to a couple of times. It's mad because this season is been a season of multiple different playing styles for Everton, multiple different formations, and we're going to go into our predicted starting 11s a little bit later on in the preview, and I honestly don't know. It's nigh on impossible for me to predict what Carlo Ancelotti will do, who he'll play in midfield, who will start up front, whether Richarlison will start as a striker or a left winger. It is impossible because we've played so many different formations, so many different styles, and so many different players this season. I'd love to know how many I'd love to know for a start when the last time we played the same team and the same formation in consecutive games, because I honestly can't remember. But you brought up a really good point there about mixing the start of the season with currently, because we started the season very, very good attacking wise. We were free flowing. We put 1 past Spurs on the opening day, 5 past West Brom in the game after that, 2 past Palace, then 4 past Brighton. We put 4 past West Ham in the cup as well around about that time. Scored 3 or 4 I think against Fleetwood and 5 against Salford or vice versa. But we were also conceding goals as well, 2 against West Brom at Goodison. I think we conceded 2 against Brighton as well, 1 against Palace. So the defence at the start of the season needed to be improved, but the attack was absolutely unbelievable. It was like watching prime Barcelona, and it was excellent. And then obviously we went on that little bit of a bad bad run of form, when we come out of it with the Chelsea game at Goodison, and all of a sudden the defence was absolutely exceptional, but we weren't really attacking as much as we were at the start of the season, and we were winning games, but it was by the odd goal or the odd, couple of goals. And I think we're at that point now where you're looking at it and you think, we can defend really, really well, but we're not as clinical going forward. And at the start of the season, we were clinical going forward, but we weren't defending very well. So I agree. I think you need that balance, and you're absolutely spot on. And like I said, Sam Allardyce's West Brom have taken points off some good sides this season purely by the fact that they sit back. And, if Manchester City, who, let's be honest, are a level above everybody, can't put more than a goal past them, then you know that they do defend. And look, Sam Allardyce ultimately is in there to keep them up. Whenever Sam Allardyce is employed, let's make no mistake about it. And I respect him for this in a sense. I don't think he was a great Everton manager. I think he's got a massive ego, and I think he's a bit of a fool. But I respect him for the fact that whenever he's employed for one reason and one reason only, and that's to keep the side that he's managing up in the Premier League and to avoid relegation. And look, that might be a step too far for West Brom this season, but they've certainly gotten some big results. The Liverpool point was massive. The Man United point a couple of weeks ago was massive. And obviously they beat Brighton. I don't know how they beat Brighton, because Brighton must have had about 400 shots on target. But they got the win ultimately by defending and defending, as a unit. And that's why I think Everton need to be a little bit more proactive in this game, to be honest with you, because again, West Brom aren't necessarily going to have 80% possession and come at us. They're going to allow us to have the ball. They're going to allow us to sort of come at them and create chances. And we need to be a lot better than we were on Monday night against Southampton, because I always felt on Monday night, Cal, I don't know if you felt the same, but, again, like I said, the lack of spirit and fight from Southampton really shocked me. But I always felt like as soon as Everton had scored that second goal, that had been it. It'd have been game, set and match. Because even at 1-0, Southampton didn't really look like getting back into the game until the last 5 or 10 minutes. But as soon as Michael Keane scored that that goal that was disallowed, I thought, if we get the second here, this is game, set and match. But we couldn't get the second for the rest of the game. We were always chasing that. And West Brom are a team that are capable of scoring as well. They haven't scored many, but they've got decent players. Grady Diangana, you mentioned there, who scored, I think, a free kick against us. It might have been Pereira who scored the free kick, and Diangana scored the other goal at Goodison Park. He's got quality. The lad is a very, very good footballer. They signed a new lad in January. I can't pronounce his name. I think it's Diagni. It's spelled very similar to Luca Dean, but it's definitely not pronounced that way. Dianga, yeah. But he's come in and he's made an impact. Yeah, he's come in and he's made an impact. He's scoring goals. So I think this will be a much more difficult game than maybe some people first initially think. But the expectation is a win. And like I said, this week for me is a massive week for the context of this season. And don't get me wrong, if we don't win, I'm not saying European football's out the window and that's it and we won't finish in a European position. Now, I'm not saying that whatsoever, but what I'm saying is you need to be able to find a way to break these types of side down. You'll come up against teams that, are better than you in a season, and you can hit them on the counter-attack and you can win. We've done that before. We'll come up against teams that might be level in terms of ability than us, and, we're quite well matched. We'll get points out of those games, like your Leicester's, like your your Wolves and sides like that, and you'll come up against teams who you're much better than, and the expectation is that you go out and you win comfortably. And I think that's where Everton need to improve on, because at times this season you look at your Fulhams, apologies about that, you look at your Fulhams and your Newcastles and your Leeds, and it was brought up to Carlo Ancelotti in his press conference today practically that we don't want another Fulham, we don't want another Newcastle, because again, we can't afford that. We're going to be sitting here at the end of the season saying, we finished 2 points out the top four, or we finished 2 points outside the Europa League when we lost to Fulham and Newcastle and, Leeds, and hopefully it's not West Brom added to that list. One thing I would take confidence going into this is, I think the Southampton game, as much as it was a little bit of a boring game and it wasn't fantastic spectacle, we hadn't won a Premier League game at Goodison since December, so maybe, just maybe, the thought process was get out there and win. Don't worry about how you win, just win so we can get this bad run of form at home behind us. Whereas obviously the West Brom game, we're away from home, and we've been much better away from home this season. It's all set up for Everton to go out and win, but listen, for me, it is going to be extremely difficult. But like I said, West Brom have got some quality players. Before we get into talking about that, if you're not enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Don't forget to check out the Football News 365 app as well. Absolutely fantastic app. Keeps you up to date with all of your latest Everton news, scores, updates, all of that good stuff. The link is in the description. If you download it via that link on iOS, Android, all of that good stuff, it helps out the channel as well. So please do check that out. But like we mentioned there, mate, they've got some players, Ainsley Maitland-Niles on loan from Arsenal as well, who can certainly hurt us on the counter-attack. So we have to be aware defensively, as even though this game mightn't be it mightn't be as focused on defending and hitting them on the counter-attack. We're probably likely to be in control of the ball. We're still going to have to be aware of the quality that they can possess going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said, one thing we shouldn't do, and it's one thing in my opinion, the main reason we've lost all these games is because we don't take the smaller teams seriously.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about it, and I hate comparing us, but we are now slowly becoming what Liverpool used to be. They can handle the big teams, they'd beat the big teams, and then they'd go out and play at West Brom and they'd lose, and everyone would be like, haha, you bottled it. Let's not become that side, because we clearly have got the quality. Everyone knows we've got the quality. I know we've got enough quality to finish in the Champions League. West Ham are fourth, let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
I think don't get me wrong, I think this is a dodgy one-off season. But I think if we can get top four this year, the level of player we'll be able to bring in, the quality that we can then have. If we get Champions League football and then Man United give an offer at Max Aarons, why is Max Aarons going to go and sit on the bench at Man United when he can come join another Champions League side?
Exactly.
You've got to look at around Europe, the level of player we'll be able to bring. Lozano apparently likes Naples, but he's going to like Champions League football even more. Leon Bailey, Champions League football instead of, I don't know, I think Leverkusen are doing all right in the league, but they did just get knocked out of the Europa League by young boys, so, But, like I said, I think this is a game we need to go out and make a statement, because how many will this be in a row? This will be three in a row?
3 wins in a row, 3 wins in a row if we win, yeah.
3 wins in a row, and then we play a Chelsea team that I think is massively overrated. So I think if Chelsea have a poor result going into I think Chelsea play a big game.
Liverpool on at 8:00.
So let's put it simply, right? If Chelsea, I actually don't know who I'd want to win that.
I'd want a draw personally if we beat West Brom.
So let's say those two teams, it's a 1-1 draw or something, because Liverpool's defence it's awful. So Chelsea are going to score more than likely. We jump up to 4th, and then we come up after 3 wins in a row. Let them have 80% of possession and do exactly what we did to them last time. It's the smaller teams where it's like, I think the boys are so used to being to this system where they have to fit a role by Carlo. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Carlo's not. I think Carlo's telling them, go, have fun, play your way. Because look at James. James plays freely, and it's why he plays so well. I feel like we need that as well. We need to have a playmaker in. Because don't get me wrong, I do like Sigurdsson occasionally. Against certain teams, I can understand why Sigurdsson plays, but against teams like this, we need to be constantly creating chances, so we need James on the pitch.
No, I agree completely. Jason says can be a negative. I'm not being negative, mate. I'm aware of this type of game because everything's set up for it to be a perfect night. We play at 6:00, so if we win, we go into the top 4. As Carlo said, if we can even get into the top 4 and just feel what it's like to be in that position, that'll give the side a lot of confidence. Like we mentioned, Liverpool play Chelsea, 2 sides that are in and around us, so at least one of them is guaranteed to drop points. Hopefully both of them will drop points and they'll only take a point each. That means we'll gain an advantage on them. West Ham, again, don't play till later on. I think West Ham will go through a period in the season for me where they'll drop points. We've still got a game in hand. We're away. We've been brilliant away, and we're coming up against the second worst team in the league. So I'm not being negative. I'm just aware. And like I said, West Brom, I think the league position flatters, doesn't flatter, but it like I said, it's maybe not a true representation because West Brom are a difficult side to beat. Certainly now with Sam Allardyce, they're a very difficult side to beat. But the expectation for me and the positivity comes from we have to be able to beat West Brom, and I want Everton to go out and beat West Brom tomorrow. I'd love to say comfortably go and put 4 or 5 or 6 past them. That'd be excellent. And I want to talk about early goals as well before we go into our predicted starting 11s because I think that could be, a massive talking point. But ultimately, like I said, I think for me, it's not going to be as much as it's not going to be as much focused on winning the game by 4 or 5 or 6 goals. It's more focused on just winning the game and getting the 3 points. And if we can come out tomorrow with a 1-0 win and we've scored in the last 5 seconds of the game, I'll absolutely take that, because like I said, this week of football, i.e. Southampton, West Brom and Chelsea, is a massive week in the challenge for European football. It's a massive week in the context of this season, and we can't be dropping points away to sides like West Brom. We simply can't. We have to find a way to break that defence down. We have to find a way to beat them. And like I said, it'll be difficult for us, but for me, the expectation is that we do go out and win. That's the expectation, because we can't be seen as a side that's fighting for Champions League if we can't beat a side like West Brom away from home. I know United and City and Liverpool have dropped points there this season, and that's why I'm cautious. I'm not being negative, I'm just cautious, because every other team in and around us have fallen to West Brom this season and dropped points to them. I just hope that isn't Everton, and like I said, it's a big opportunity tomorrow to gain an advantage on everybody around us, because make no mistake, even if Liverpool go and beat Chelsea, or Chelsea beat Liverpool, and then I think Liverpool play before Everton as well at the weekend. So even if, let's just say for example, Liverpool beat Chelsea tomorrow, they go back fourth and then they win at the weekend and they go 3 points ahead of us, we've still got the advantage because we've still won our game and we've got a game in hand. So if sides like Chelsea and Liverpool are sitting there on tomorrow night just ahead of their game and they're thinking, right, Everton have won, Everton have gone fourth here with the game in hand, that automatically puts pressure on those sides, and we don't need to put pressure on ourselves. And I want to talk, before we get into the starting 11s, mate, about early goals, because obviously in the last 2 games, Liverpool and Southampton, Richarlison has scored within the first 10 minutes of the games. Very similar goals for me. Liverpool won. Obviously, James Rodriguez took it down, played it excellently into his path, and he cut in between the 2 defenders and put it behind Alisson. And then obviously the Southampton goal, Sigurdsson takes it down, plays it behind, again Richarlison cuts in behind the 2 defenders, rounds Fraser Forster and puts it in the back of the net. If we can get another early goal tomorrow in a very similar fashion, and I think this is why it's important for Richarlison to play as a striker. I know Carlo mentioned him today as playing as a central left, which is sort of like a left-sided striker, but if we can get that early goal tomorrow, we can go out there and be 1-0 up within 5 or 10 minutes, then automatically that means West Brom have got to come at us. Then if they then sit back for the rest of the game, then sound, it might be a boring game, it might be frustrating to watch, but we win 1-0, we take the 3 points, we move on. I know goal difference is a big thing, but if we can get that 1 goal and then they sort of think, right, we're going to have to come out here and we're going to have to attack them, and then we can continue to hit them on the counter attack, get another couple and the floodgates could open, and it could be 4 or 5 like it was at the start of the season. But that early goal is something that we've seen twice over the last 2 games, Callum, and it could be essential tomorrow, because if we can catch them sleeping in the opening 10 minutes and go 1-0 up, then that gives us a gigantic advantage, because then they have to come out ultimately, and that's where that'll suit Everton, won't it?
Yeah, I think we're one of the only teams in the league that come in focused. I feel like that's an advantage we have, and it's helped us win a lot of games. We've scored early quite a lot. We've got to be up there for most goals scored in the first 10 minutes in the Premier League. Yeah. I remember Fulham, all the games recently, obviously the derby. We like to score early.
We scored early in the West Brom game at Goodison, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we scored early in every game at the start of the season, to be fair. Maybe except the Brighton one, but... Or did we score early in the Brighton one?
I can't remember. It wasn't early against Spurs, and I don't think it was early against Palace. But you're right, we have scored a lot of early goals this season. We scored, it wasn't early as in first 10 minutes, but it was relatively early in the game against Manchester United as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking into this, and I'm just looking into our fixtures, because we can score these early goals. Let's be realistic, right? I'm going to go through each of these. We should beat West Brom. We can beat Chelsea. Should beat Burnley. Should beat Palace. Should beat Brighton. Can beat Spurs. Can beat Arsenal. Can beat Villa. Can beat West Ham. Should win. Should win. I don't know about Man City, because Man City might turn off if they've already got the league title wrapped up. Like, realistically, let's be brutally honest. I can understand losing to maybe West Ham. I can't even, brutally honest with you, can't even accept us losing to Spurs if they keep going down this toilet hole they're in right now. Yeah, Gareth Bale's back on form. I don't care. They're not consistent at all. And don't get me wrong, if we did lose, if we won that entire stretch except Spurs and Man City, I would not complain at all, because we more than likely would get top 4 with that finish. But we need to take advantage, and we need to learn how to put these smaller teams away. Because let's put this into context. What is there? Like 13 teams that I'd say are smaller than in the Premier League, Then you've got teams that are around our level and then above. So, that's what, let's be realistic, that's at least, I can't even do the maths, to be honest.
It's a lot of points.
So we should be at least winning one of those games each time. Realistically, we should be winning both, but not every team can do that, so it's kind of understandable. So, yeah, West Brom did go 3-0 up early on against Chelsea in the season, but I feel like the Bilic team and the Allardyce team are completely different. Bilic actually tried to make his teams play football, and I'm only praising Bilic because he played for Everton for a bit. But I feel like we should win. And don't get me wrong, I feel like this is the ones where we won't get the early goal because I don't think they'll be stretched on. But Allardyce is going to go. They always like to score in the first 10 minutes, 10 men back for the first 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. And then they might try surprises every now and again because West Brom like to do that where they'll suddenly start attacking for a few minutes. It's kind of like what we did against United in the second half.
Yeah.
Where we came back, where we sat back and we tried to keep it cool. And then out of nowhere, we just came out firing in the second half and they didn't know what to do. Yeah. Let's not let them do that to us. It would be real. But yeah, I feel like an early goal. Let's put it simply, I think if we score early, we've won the game.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I mean, Tazl says we can beat all of these teams, but will we? All depends on mentality. Liam says, I'm fecking made up that Evertonians are debating positive outcomes. Creeper Boy says, even Carlo said he was not impressed by Godfrey. He certainly did, and we'll get back into those comments in a moment. But you're right, you're spot on. Sam Allardyce will understand that Everton have scored 2 early goals recently, and he will have watched the Merseyside derby. He probably will have watched the Southampton game in preparation for this one tomorrow, and he will be saying, Carl's absolutely spot on. He'll be saying to his side, keep it tight in the first 10 minutes. Don't let Richarlison have any space. And it wouldn't surprise me if, Sam Allardyce's sort of tactic tomorrow is to kick Everton and frustrate Everton and do the defensive work, but also make sure that we again throwing the tackles in and frustrating us in the middle of the park, and then hoping that we sort of lose our head a little bit and we sort of get frustrated, and then in the second half they can hit us and maybe score while we're not concentrating. And that's mentality does come into this. That's where Everton have to stick this out tomorrow. It's going to be a physical game. West Brom have got a lot of physical players. They've got a lot of players who aren't afraid to get into a battle and aren't afraid to, get into a little bit of a scruff and a fight, etc. So it will be difficult in that sense. We have got more than enough quality to win comfortably tomorrow. We really, really have, and I hope that quality is on show. I really hope that James Rodriguez is fit because I think he could be the difference maker. Because if you've got James Rodriguez spraying a ball to Dom or spraying a ball to to Richarlison or Luka Dean, etc., West Brom players won't be able to keep up with that. As physical as they might be and as good as of a strong back line as they might be, they're not going to be able to keep up with that intelligence of James Rodriguez. So I really do hope he's fit for tomorrow's game. But again, like I said, Sam Allardyce will set up to, he'll set up to frustrate, he'll set up to defend, and we have to be able to play against that. That's something that I think we've struggled most with this season, is when we've had the onus on us and we've been the team that have to come out and have to attack, and the opposition team have gone, no, we don't want 70% of the possession, you can have that. That's where we've struggled to control games and take games by the scruff of the neck. And it would be amazing, it would be absolutely amazing tomorrow for us to just take the game by the scruff of the neck and go and put 4 or 5 past West Brom and show them that we're an absolutely quality team. I hope that we sort of I hope that we channel the inner performance at the start of the season when we played West Brom, where we just went out and went, no, we're well better than these are awful, let's just go and beat them. But to be respectful to West Brom, and Carl's right about the Slaven Bilic side and the difference between the Allardyce side. The Slaven Bilic come to Goodison Park and attempted to play nice football and match Everton ability wise, and he couldn't do that because we're a much better side quality wise. Sam Allardyce won't do that. Sam Allardyce won't be under any assumptions or illusions that he can match Everton for ability. He won't. He simply won't. He'll be coming to defend, he'll be coming to frustrate, he'll be coming to hope that he can hit us on the counter attack and then defend for 90 minutes. So it will be difficult, but ultimately we have to win this game. It's a game that we we've got to go out and we've got to get the 3 points in, because if we want to be seen as a serious challenger for the top 4, you have to be beating the team at a second bottom and that have only won 3 games this season and drew 8 and lost 15. So yeah, like I said, they've got some dangerous players. We'll get into our predicted starting 11s in a moment. Let's get into the comments then. Before we do that, if you're enjoying the scene, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Really appreciate it. Share the stream on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Let's get as many people involved as we can. Everton Blues says, hey Cam, love the vids. Nearly choked on my own words there. Any chance you can do an hour live stream talking about Ben Godfrey? Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it at some point, probably towards the end of the season or whenever the next international break is. We'll do it. We'll sit down and we'll just talk about how boss Ben Godfrey is. Same old Everton says hello, Camai mate. Eugene says Alan check. Dom says is King set to start and if so over who? Just spoke about that. That's my prediction, which we'll talk about in a second. It's not from Carlo Ancelotti. I must stress that Carlo hasn't mentioned Josh King today. Eliotti says Cam, who do you want in midfield? Don't think Alan will play in Tom Davis. Maybe we'll talk about it in the predicted starting 11s, but I think the midfield is one that's very, very difficult to choose and very, very difficult to predict who Carlo will go with. Andy says, will be nice seeing the away kit in action once again. Been a while. It will, mate. It absolutely will. When was the last time we wore the yellow kit? I don't even know. Was it Fulham away? I really don't know. I can't remember. The last time we wore the third kit was Leicester away. I know that. So it'd be nice to wear one of those two tomorrow at least. Everton, I assume it'll be the yellow one. Everton now says thank you for coming on, Cameron. No worries, mate. Thank you. Adam says is Josh King going to start? We don't know. We'll talk about it in a second. Ewan says Champions League hopes and Godfrey praise is right. Philip says we need to start scoring. We read that one before. Ewan says full story as Carlo Ancelotti delivers injury update. Godfrey confirms Champions League claim. Will P says other potential signings: Florian Toaven, Edouard, Carlos Soler, Maduiki and Taliso. I think we should sign those players in the summer. Fair enough. We will talk about the summer transfer window closer to the time. My team, can't think of anything. He says my team will be Pickford, Holgate, Keane, Godfrey, Dean, Alan, Decore, Hammers, King, DCL, and rest Richie. I think if we want to win, if we want Champions League, we need to be winning. Manuel says Dogs of War is right. Can't think of any effing name. He says I want a comfortable win. Jab says we need attacking football. Having 7 shots a game isn't enough, and can't think of another name. Says if we go 2-0 up, we will comfortably win. I agree. To be honest, if we manage to go 2-0 up, and if we if we can get to that level where we're comfortable in the game, then I think we will continue to just ride it out, and I think we will win comfortably. But when was the last time? I mean, Sheffield United, West Brom conceded 2 goals too, but that was 5-6 weeks ago, something like that. They haven't. Well, they conceded 2 to Spurs as well, but the last 3 games they're unbeaten, and so it'll be difficult. It will be difficult, but I expect us to go out and win. Let's get into our predicted starting 11s then, Carl. Without any more time wasted, let's get straight into these. I'll go first. I'll do my goalkeeper and backline, and then we'll move on to yourself. Yeah. I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Carlo mentioned Robin Olsen today and said that he, again, is one of those players that'll need assessing ahead of tomorrow's game. I think he'll be watching in training today to see if he's fit enough to be involved in some form, probably on the bench. But Jordan, for me, absolutely deserves to stay. I think him and Richarlison single-handedly won us that game on Monday night. That save from Vestergaard in the last couple of minutes was just absolutely exceptional. I mean, okay, it's Vestergaard and he was falling on his arse and he's a centre half, but let's be honest, he gets it on target, and if it could have easily went in the back of the net, and we could have been sitting here yesterday talking about a point rather than 3 points. So for me, Jordan Pickford starts. I think he's continued that good form on from the Merseyside derby where he was absolutely excellent, and I expect him to continue it on ahead of tomorrow as well. Backline, I've gone for Luca Dean at left back. Not many other options. Carlo confirmed today that Yerry Mina is still out. He won't be available along with Jean-Frédéric Aubameyang and Fabian Delph. They're the only 3 that are confirmed out at the moment. So obviously Luca Dean will start at left back. Thought he was okay against Southampton. A couple of balls into the box. Defended, well, but didn't really have to do much. I think his creativity could be key tomorrow, to be honest with you. I think his balls into the box, getting it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, getting it to Richarlison as well, I think could be key if Richarlison plays. So I've gone with Luca Dean. Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey as a centre-back partnership, of course. Again, played really, really well over the last couple of games or so. The Merseyside derby, they were excellent. They were solid against Southampton as well. Didn't have to do much, but they were very solid. Obviously, Yerry Mina's still out. And then right back, I've gone with Mason again. Obviously, if Seamus Coleman's fit, Carlo may go with Seamus Coleman. He may put him Seamus back in there for that leadership. Certainly away from home and what's going to be a tough physical game, but I think Mason was decent the other night. His balls into the box and ultimately his final ball needs to be improved, but I think he got forward on a couple of more occasions than he usually does, and he won free kicks in dangerous areas for us as well, which I think was really important. So I'm going to continue with Mason at right back. Go on then, mate, who's your back line and goalkeeper?
My back line and goalkeeper. Sorry, I just saw a comment saying that apparently Everton shirts have been slashed to £15. I'm gonna have to go buy myself the amber
It's
one.
right, mate. It's right. Oh yeah, Philip
Right,
there.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
I'll read that one in a
I'll
sec.
say Philip, you bang me the link in the chat, please, if you're allowed it. But for after the
For
stream.
anyone wondering,
Anyway,
sorry, just before we get into it, for anyone wondering, Philip says if anyone wants an Everton top, but both the cost online prices have been slashed. Just bought the amber top for £15, short of £10, maybe 12. Some good stuff on there. Everton online store. There you go. Nice one, Phil. Nice one. Go on then, mate. Sorry about that.
right. Let me stop. Right. In goal, we've got big Jordan Pickford. Like I said, you could argue over the past 4 or 5 games, he's probably been the best goalkeeper in the league. I think he's slowly asserting himself back as England's number one. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I always knew Southgate would pick him even when I didn't rate him. But, Pickford's been fantastic. We have no reason to take him out. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he was tested much in the Southampton game, but when he was tested, he came out, claimed the ball, did well, and his distribution to Calvert-Lewin's fantastic and will be our key to winning the Euros. But anyway, right at right back, I've gone for Ben Godfrey. He always does well, doesn't he? Ben Godfrey is the one part of this team we can't drop for the next 10 years, unless a team wants to come and offer us £500 million.
And then I'd say no.
If a team wants to fund this new stadium for us, then
you can have him on loan for 6 months.
They can, 500 million for a 6-month loan. Right. Saying that, shit, wait. No, I'm going to change. What am I doing? I've completely blanked that Mina's injured. Right back, Seamus Coleman. Coleman's been whenever he's played recently. I think he did really well in the Liverpool game, and I feel like he deserves a bit of a run in the team after injury. I like Holgate, but I feel like he gives the ball away too much, even against the West Brom team. He's not a right back; he's a centre back. So don't get me wrong, you could do Holgate in the middle, Godfrey at right back, but I just feel like Holgate's kind of accepted that he's the bench centre back now. So at centre backs, Keane, Godfrey. Keane's been fantastic in my opinion. Keane's on. I honestly think Keane starts at the Euros. To be honest, I know he loves Harry Maguire, but if we were going off pure talent, it'd be Stones and Keane.
Keane's been
exceptional. Let's be brutally honest. An Everton duo at centre back. But anyway, and then Digne at left back. He's the best left back in the world. I do not care what anyone says. He's the best left back in the world because I saw a poll where they voted between Robertson and Davies, and Robertson won. So that means That means Digne is the best left back in the world.
Robertson can't defend for a start.
I think he can defend, but he's massively overrated by Liverpool fans.
Yeah. Well, we all know Dean's the best left back in the world. We all know that. Blue Boys Network has donated £2 to the team. Massive thanks, Mike. Really appreciate that. Honestly, it means a lot. Really do. Big thanks, and go and check out the Blue Boys Network. I'm sure you'd all do anyway and subscribe. They're absolutely smashing it, Mike and John over there. Massive thanks, mate. No, I agree with that back line, of course. Gone with the same back line. Adamski says Holgate a bit like Mina for me. Always seemed to have an edit in him. Tazu says wouldn't change the back four. I'd play Iwobi ahead of Holgate. Liam says bang on, Cal. Adamski says Everton direct. Yes, I believe it is. Samuel says I'll get mine shipped to Colombia. Then is right. He also says greetings from Colombia. Nice one, Samuel. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Tazu says good to see the Blue Boys in here, and he says yes now, John/Mike. No, I agree. Obviously, we've gone with the same back line, other than I've gone with Mason and you've gone with Seamus Coleman. I think it's likely to be that, or either or, whether it be Seamus or Mason. I think he's likely to go with that back line. Into the midfield then, this is where, again, for me, it's nigh on impossible, and if anybody predicts Carlo Ancelotti's starting 11, then I applaud you, because it's very difficult to predict the Carlo Ancelotti starting 11 now, because of all of the rotation, and, the rotation and the fitness of the squad and all of that good stuff. So for me, I've gone with a 4-4-2 type of formation, but it might change to James in the 10. It might change to two wide players. I just want to see Richarlison playing as a striker. But my midfield is James Rodriguez on the right hand side. I think if he's fit, he will be an exceptional addition to this squad. We saw his quality against West Brom at Goodison Park, first home game for Everton, and obviously first goal for Everton as well. Absolutely exceptional finish on that day, and we've saw it many a time since then as well, be it against Liverpool, Man United, Leicester City. He's been excellent this season, and I think I said it before and yesterday. I think James Rodriguez's quality, James Rodriguez's on the ability on the ball, James Rodriguez's distribution could be the game changer tomorrow. That bit of magic, that pass that he played into Richarlison against against Liverpool, those passes to Luka Dean, those through balls to Richarlison, they could all be the difference maker tomorrow. I don't think it'll be a high scoring game. I think it'll be a 1-0 or maybe a 2-1, and I think James' magic left foot could be the decider, be it from a goal or an unbelievable assist. So I've gone with James on the right. Obviously, barring he's fit, Carlo Ancelotti said today that James, Tom Davies and Seamus Coleman will all be assessed tomorrow, so we don't know if they're fit yet, but assuming he is. I've gone with Abdoulaye Doucouré and Tom Davies in the middle. Now, obviously, you've got Doucouré, Davies, Gomez and Sigurdsson to choose from here, and Alan as well, I suppose. I don't think he'll play Alan. I think Alan will be rested. He did say that Alan's going to be assessed ahead of tomorrow as well to see if he's recovered in time. I think we're more likely to see Alan rested, given that we've got Chelsea at the weekend, well, on Monday night. So I then think it's obviously between Gomez, Sigurdsson, Davies and Doucouré, if Davies is fit as well. Don't get me wrong, Doucouré needs a rest for me. I think he's played a lot of games this season. Well, I know he's played a lot of games this season. He's only missed one, and that was through a suspension. That wasn't even through being rested. So Doucouré does need a rest, and I would like to see Doucouré given a rest, but ultimately I think the ability that lad has, the engine that lad has, the fact that he can play box-to-box, the fact he can do the defensive duties, the fact that he can get forward and be part of the attack as well, I just don't see him being rested. And then obviously it'd be between Gomez, Sigurdsson and Davies, and I'd just rather have Davies in there. I think obviously he missed out the Southampton game through injury. He's been very, very good recently. He's been absolutely exceptional. And look, I suppose it's difficult because Gomez was unbelievable against Southampton as well. It was back to the 18-19 season Andre Gomez that we all know and love. But again, will he have the fitness to be able to keep up and go again just a couple of days later? Sigurdsson played pretty much the entirety of the game as well and was involved. Obviously got the assist for the only goal of the game, which was a fantastic assist. Will he be fit enough, given he's probably going to be involved against Chelsea? So ultimately the midfield too, I think, we could sit here all day and try and predict what Carlo is going to go for, but nobody will be able to get it because it could be any two of multiple different partnerships. And then on the left, I've gone with Josh King. Now, some people mightn't agree with this. Some people might prefer Iwobi. Some people might prefer Bernard. Some people might prefer, Richarlison and just have Dom as a lone striker. But I really want to see Josh King given an opportunity, to be honest with you, because I don't think he's benefiting much off coming on in the last 5 or 10 minutes of games of football and being expected to make a difference. It's very, very difficult for players to come on and make a difference with 5 or 10 minutes of football to play. And there are a lot of players. We've got, Alex Iwobi, who for me is a prime example of this, who they take sort of 5 or 10 minutes to grow into a game. And we saw, obviously, towards the start of the season when Alex Iwobi was coming off the bench and only being given the last 10 minutes of games, he wasn't having an impact whatsoever, and everybody said, he's not good enough and he's a waste of money. And then he went on a run where he was playing, sort of starting games and playing consistently, and he was brilliant. And obviously he come off the bench the other day and done a nice lovely little bit of skill, and I think he not only the bit of skill, which I think has been the talking point because it was Bosch, but he had more take-ons than anybody else on the pitch, and he'd been on for 6 minutes or something like that, 3 successful take-ons. So I think Josh King is a player that obviously we've brought in for 6 months on an initial sort of deal, and the rumours are that he, the club will want to sign him on a permanent in the summer. But I just want to see him given a little bit of a run in the team, give him a start from the off and see how he does for 60-70 minutes. If he's not impactful, then you can take him off and bring in a Iwobi on or a Bernard on. But bringing him on in the last 5 or 10 minutes of games isn't helping him whatsoever. And if we're going to bring him in the summer on a permanent, realistically, what have we seen so far ultimately is to make that decision? We haven't, and I don't particularly put that down to Josh King. I just think that he hasn't been given that opportunity. And I think this is a game against the West Brom side where Josh King's directness, his pace, his ability to take players on, his strength, I think could be massive. So that's my midfield anyway. What's yours, Cal?
I don't know. I think I'm going to go for the 4-3-1-2 because it works. So I'll name 3 midfield and then I'll put the attacking midfielder with the forward. Yeah. But I've gone for Doucouré. I don't know. Is Doucouré going to get rested?
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because I think Gomez is going to play.
Fair enough.
I think it is harsh not to play him because he did play really well.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm going to go Davies, Alan, Gomez.
Fair enough.
Because I feel like Doucouré needs a rest. And if it's not working, he can come on for 45 minutes. Because listen, if we lose Doucouré, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't care if we've got Alan, Davies and whoever. No one can replace the energy Doucouré brings, not even Alan. That man, like we've said before, can play a full 90 minutes and then does another 30 on the treadmill just for the sake of it, just to prove a point. So I think, like we said, we've talked about how much energy he has, but we need to rest him because, listen, he might be able to run around for 90 minutes, but his hamstrings might have had enough of it recently. Yeah. And if he pulls a hamstring, did Alan pull a hamstring? I think he did, didn't he?
It was a hamstring issue, 2 or 3 months out with it.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want that. Listen, if he wants to have a 2 or 3 month injury against Man City, I can accept that. But let's
Hopefully
not do it.
Don't even want that.
No, not. But if he's going to do it any time, do it in the Man City game. But yeah, I'd prefer some rotation. I think Andre Gomez will play really well against West Brom too. He does always seem to handle well against those teams, and he's improving his performances. He's dribbling well. He's playing nice passes, and don't get me wrong, he does play a few passes that are ridiculous. But you know what? At least he tries. At least he tries to go for the out there pass, because a lot of our players are too scared to go for that pass and will just pass sideways.
Yeah, no.
So
I think it might suit this game, Andre Gomez, to be honest, because he's probably going to have more space and time on the ball. I think Andre Gomez struggles when he has to chase the game and he's got to do the running off the ball, where I think this one might suit him a little bit more.
Exactly. If he's got Davies and Allen behind him, he doesn't have to chase the ball nearly as much. Wait, did you put Josh King in midfield, or have you done your forwards as well?
I put him in sort of left wing, left mid. I've done the 4 across the midfield. I've just gone for a base 4-4-2 to accommodate Richarlison as a striker, but it could be one of many formations. So
right. Yeah, I'm just going to answer this while we're on about midfielders. Everton Botch is saying, I don't think Gabamin will ever play for Everton again. I don't think he's going to play next season, to be honest. I think he's going to get loaned out. I don't know what you think about it, but I think he's going to get loaned out to finally get a full season of football under his belt. Maybe send him back to like the Bundesliga, or send him to a newly promoted side or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that happening if he was fit, yeah.
Yeah, because I do think he's a good player. I made sure to look out at him when we first rumoured with him. But he hasn't played nearly enough. So yeah, I could very much see that happening. But anyway, right, so you do your forwards and then I'll do my attacking midfielder and 2 strikers.
Yeah, sound. No, I agree on Gabamin, by the way. I think when he comes back to fitness, it's still going to be a very, very slow road to consistent football for him. And again, it's difficult. But I don't feel sorry for the lad, because it's not his fault. He's picked up 3 or 4 absolutely awful football and injuries within the space of 2 years. Mama says, I feel like we are playing a weird 3-2-3-2 or something, catching Sam off guard. Tazo says, the mysterious Gabamin, he looked some player, though, exactly what we need in our midfield. You're right. Tazo says, yes, Alan's a beast of a player, need him fully fit for the rest of the season. He says, Moji, I know that's why we need to be careful with him. If Davis is fit, I'd start him and save Alan for Chelsea. Well, that's my sort of thinking. If you're enjoying, by the way, so far, please hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, share the live stream as well, try and get as many people involved as possible. Philip says, Alan will be fine, he just needs a couple of games. Fair enough. Mo says his first game back after injury did his job, and Tazu says Carlo was playing mind games. Davis, Coleman and Hammers will all start tomorrow. He's keeping big, I'm guessing. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me, mate. My forward line then, obviously I've gone with the 2 strikers, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. I think Dom was involved against Southampton, probably frustrated with himself a little bit because he wasn't involved in front of goal as much as he usually is, but again, he was massively involved in the goal. That aerial, winning the ball and heading it down and then chesting it down was exceptional. And then obviously, again, he was dragging players out. The aerial battle with Salisu was just it was a mismatch. I felt sorry for the lad. It was an absolute mismatch. He just had him on toast all game. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, had a fantastic season so far, and if he's fit, he's starting. And then Richarlison, I want to see Richarlison as more of a striker. I know Carlo mentioned him as a central left today, which is I think that's an old school way of talking about a striker, but who plays a little bit on the left. I don't know. Somebody who's into football formations will know that. But again, we just mentioned earlier about the early goals and how both goals against the opener against Liverpool and the goal against Southampton were very, very similar. In fact, almost carbon copies of each other, without Richarlison rounding the keeper, i.e. Sigurdsson bringing the ball down against Southampton, playing it into space, Hammers doing it against Liverpool, playing it into space, and Richarlison gets in between the defender and the right back and the centre back, gets involved against Liverpool. He slots it first time, against Southampton he rounds the keeper in. This is a lad who's absolutely full of confidence at the moment, and not just the goals that he's scoring. His overall play has been brilliant, holding the ball up, winning fouls, playing it off, certainly in the game against Liverpool and in the Man City game as well, which I think he played really, really well in. He was isolated for large parts of those games, but whenever he had the ball, he didn't just give it away. He didn't just turn around and boot it and allow them to get it back and come back at us. He held it well. He either won fouls or he won throw-ins or he took it down the other end of the pitch, and he knew if he was going to give it away, he was going to do it in an area that wouldn't cause us too much danger. And obviously the goals of at Everton, his goal scoring form at the moment is exceptional. I think it's 3 goals in 3 in the Premier League, 5 in 4 in all competitions. He scored 2 against Tottenham, of course. The goal the other day was exceptional. It was such a tight angle, and he kept his weight, he kept his balance, and he slotted it. So I really want to see Richarlison as a striker again. So that's why I've gone with that, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I think Richarlison's 100% got to play. If Josh King plays, I could see it being Calvert-Lewin who gets dropped, but I don't see that. I think we need Calvert-Lewin's goals if we want Champions League football. I'm going to go for Hammers at attacking midfielder, and then I'm going to go for the usual front two of Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Listen, I understand Josh King's on a 6-month deal, but in brutally honestly, he's done a few decent things from Iron, and I would like to see him get a bit of a run, because I can't really say I'm not impressed when he's playing 5 minutes per game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it'll be at another point. I feel like, he might look at the Chelsea game and go, oh, let's rest one of them just in case. But I feel like both of them are forwards with enough energy where they can handle 2 games that are like 4 or 5 days apart from each other. So I think it's going to be that from Frey. Hammers, listen, Hammers is... I will never avoid the opportunity to talk about the man on the back of this shirt. He's fantastic, he's talent-wise the best player I've ever seen play for this club.
Oh, he's unbelievable, mate. He's a different level,
and
isn't he?
Like, don't get me wrong, Rooney were good, but Rooney was 16. We saw Rooney more 2000, maybe his 2nd or 3rd season at United coming to his own. But yeah, man, and listen, before anyone starts in the chat, I was born in 2001, okay, so anyone from the 80s or 90s, I'll know who you're talking about, but I never watched them.
Yeah.
So,
No.
Yeah, let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, Hammers he's a master passer. His vision's world-class still. His passing's world-class still. And I feel like against a team like West Brom, he can punish them. This is the sort of game where Hammers comes in, looks at the team he's facing, and claps his hands together, smiles and goes, "We're having fun today, boys."
Let's hope so.
And because look, I think Hammers has been a really good influx of the team. I don't know. Did you watch the thing with Mina and Hammers on the Everton channel?
Yeah. They've got a special relationship, haven't they? Them two.
Yeah, and even Hammers gets along with everyone. Clearly, he's always smiling. He's always having a laugh. And someone's put exactly, I'd save Rodriguez for Chelsea, but I feel like he can handle both games, man. If we doing this thing where we're constantly play one, rest one, play one, rest one, play one, rest one, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Because I understand Hammers is probably still nursing injuries. I feel like they're injuries that are never going to go away. That's just the way they are. But I feel like he can at least put a game together of 2 or 3 games in a row and then get rested for Sigurdsson. Or, because it's like I said, we need to bring in someone more creative in the summer who can, like I said, it's not going to happen because they want 60. They'll only accept his release clause. But I don't know if you watched. Did you watch Benfica Arsenal?
I watched bits and bobs of it. I didn't watch all of it.
The guy who scored the free kick in the second leg, Pedro Goncalves, he looks like some player. And he's, priority right winger, can play in attacking midfield. Someone like that, someone who can, if we're missing, James can slot into attacking midfield, so I don't have to watch Sigurdsson try to blast it from 30 yards instead of passing a simple pass. But yeah, that's my front three. I feel like it's got goals in it. I feel like, like someone's put here, give James 60, 70 minutes. Take him off, then he can rest for the Chelsea game. But yeah, that's my front three. And hopefully we can win.
Yeah. There you go. Well, look, it's becoming increasingly more and more difficult every time we do a preview to do a predicted starting 11, because it's like I said, it's nigh on impossible to predict what Carlo Ancelotti will go for, be it personnel, be it tactics, be it formation, because ultimately, and I appreciate that, and I like that. I like that we can't sit here and we can't say, oh, we'll play this style and we'll play this team and we'll play these players and we'll play this formation, because it means Carlo isn't predictable, and that if we can't guess it, then obviously Sam Allardyce isn't going to be able to guess who he's coming in for. Jurgen Klopp couldn't guess. He had a little bit of a laugh. Oh, Carlo playing his poker face. Well, we turned up, we beat them comfortably at home. So I really, really like the fact that we don't even know what formation we're playing when the team news gets announced. We just know which players are playing, and we can sort of, guess where players are going to be playing and which formation. But again, like I said, we tend to not know and you know, sort of see what formation and style we're going to be playing until 5 minutes into the game when it's clear where the players are playing. So and I like that from Carlo, because it means he's not predictable. It means he doesn't give anything away. It means that teams can't really prepare to play against Everton, but it also makes it very difficult to predict a starting 11 and to predict the team, because obviously we haven't got a clue either. Again, the Josh King thing, I just want to see him given an opportunity, to be fair, but I understand with it's difficult, because I get that squad rotation is a necessity. I get that we need to rotate the squad. I get that it's important to rotate the squad. But I also agree and understand and believe that the more and more that you rotate and the more and more that you constantly change, you're not having that consistency there, and you're not going to have consistent results if things are constantly changing. But then I understand that things need to constantly change to avoid injuries. Look at Alan, he played a whole plethora of the games and then pulled up with a hamstring injury and has been out for 2 months. So we want to avoid that for players like James and Decore and Dom and Richarlison. We need to avoid that sort of scenario. So that's why, with squad rotation and squad rotation being a discussion, that's why I think King maybe maybe featuring tomorrow from the start because of that rotation. Maybe he'll give Richarlison a rest ahead of Chelsea. Maybe he'll give Dom a rest ahead of Chelsea. I don't know. It's going to be very, very difficult. But one thing's for certain, Cal, is we need to go out and win tomorrow. As difficult as it might be, as tough as they might be to break down, we absolutely we need to go out and win. We'll get into some more comments before we finish up. Tazu says, don't worry, guys. I'm confident we'll get the 3 points. Let's hope so. I'm confident as well, mate. I am confident because this is a different Everton. It's Carlo Ancelotti's Everton. It's a manager who knows how to win, a manager who knows that games are going to be difficult. And if this was under any other manager, I'd sort of be sitting here thinking, well, it's all set up really for us to, do in Everton, if you like, and fall to bits. But we've got a different mentality under Carlo. The mentality is a winning mentality. The players have got that winning sort of aspiration in them, and they just want to go out and win. So I am confident. I just know it's going to be difficult. Moji says we'll beat them. It's been 24 years, so another record to break. I don't know what. 24 years, have we not beat them away in 24 years? I think we have, surely. What? I don't know. Daniel says Richie and King up front, keep DCL on the bench in case we need him, plus this will give him a rest before the match on Monday. Sombeiro says really don't think that King is going to start. If I'm being honest, mate, I don't particularly think he will as well. I just think that I'd like to see him start because I want to see him from the off. I want to see what he can bring. I want to see if he's worth bringing into this, because it's all good saying, oh yeah, but we need to keep consistency, we need to have our best players out there, but ultimately if we finish in the Champions League next season, let's say, and we sign Josh King on a permanent deal and we give him a little bit of an extra wage, and then we're playing in the Champions League and he's starting games and he's not good enough, then we could have been aware of that if we give him a couple of games towards the back end of this season. We need a real representation of whether he's good enough to to start ultimately and to be a part of this squad going forward. Wormy says, hey everybody, finally I'm early enough to finish. It's right, Wormy, we're finishing up in a moment, unfortunately, but thanks for joining us. John says, key issue is motivation. We have the quality, we just need to turn up and fight to win. I agree. Damien says 3 points needed to get fourth for confidence, even for a couple of days. Come on, you Blues, well done again, Cam, and as always, and Cal, fair play. Cheers, mate, cheers. Peter says, I would rest Allen, Sigurdsson and Holgate. Big Sam may rotate as win against Newcastle is more important. Potentially. Phillips says, hey, where me? And Mama says, James can still be better. Remember his 2014-15 season with Real Madrid. Yeah, he can be. He absolutely can be. And, again, we're yet to see the best of James Rodriguez, which just, again, still blows me mind because he's been exceptional. Danny says, up the toffees. Good to see you back on the live stream. Right into these baggies tomorrow. Is right, mate. Thank you very much. There we go then, Cal. We'll finish it up there then. Difficult game of football, but it's one we expect to win, isn't it? We've got to win if we want to be fighting for the Champions League.
Yeah, 100% we need to win if we're fighting for the Champions League. And the 24 years thing was we haven't beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in 24 years.
Okay, so...
But,
listen, we haven't beat Liverpool in 22 years at Anfield, so...
It's a season of fixing. That's what it is. We're fixing all those records.
Smashing records. Carlo's coming in like Triple H with a sledgehammer and just going bang, bang, bang through every record, mate. Every record's getting smashed. Let's hope that we can continue our away record and not break that one tomorrow night. But Cal, massive thanks for joining us today, mate. Really, really do appreciate it. Anything to say before we finish up the stream?
Just the usual. Follow me on Twitter, please, if you want to see any updates, any Everton related stuff. Any rants after the game, which I probably will have to delete in a year's time, but and then check my stuff out on Prince Rupert's Tower. We might have something where I go into a little bit of detail about Carlo's press conference later on. There'll be something after the West Brom game. There'll probably also be an instant match reaction now that I've got this beautiful device here. But yeah,
The sound quality is amazing, mate. It's like you know when you get a chocolate brownie and it's dead gooey inside and you're just like, oh, that's a belt. It's like that in me. Yeah? I've just got gooey chocolate brownie. That's so weird to say. I'm such a weirdo. But the point is that my quality is absolutely excellent now. So big thanks, Cal. Don't forget to check out Cal's Twitter and Prince Rupert's Tower in the description as well. Go and drop him a follow. Also, don't forget this video is kindly being sponsored by Football News 365. Unbelievable app, ran by an Evertonian as well. Available on iOS and Android. You can download it using the link in the description below. That helps the channel out as well. It gives you up to date with all of the latest Everton news, the Premier League table, results, stats, and all of the latest stuff as well. So don't forget to check that out in the description down below. Really would appreciate that one. Anyway, massive thanks for watching. Big Nozza says, comfortable 3-0 win. Great show, guys. Cheers, mate. William says, think Kings already proved he is done. Damien says, I would give King 60 minutes at least. See how he goes. Philip says, good stuff. Cheers, Phil. Tazul says, later, guys. William says, take care, guys. Cheers, William. Sorry that you only jumped in towards the back end. I apologise, mate, but I hope you still enjoyed. Danny says, we're going to win the league. Hopefully next season. Manuel says, dogs are all, come on, you Blues, up the effing Toffees is right. Philip says, battle of the huge, mate. Yeah, man, you know, I can only see a little bit of man now. I remember when I first got this mic, it was probably in front of me face and everything, but I've figured out how to half work it. But no, Cal's mic's boss, absolutely boss. And listen, it's a little professional setup here. Hopefully, you know, maybe Spotify will come along and give us a little premium. I'm only messing. Maybe Everton will win tomorrow and we'll be able to sit here absolutely made up, as always. Anyway, Damien says, take care, guys. Cheers, Damien. Massive thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed. Massive thanks to everybody in the comments as well. Sorry we couldn't get through them all. Really do appreciate it. If you're watching this a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments and we'll get involved with as many of them as we can. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on The Mighty Blues.